Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahavi Karavavai Tejasvinavadi Namastu Mavidvishavai Om Shanti. We are seeing this chapter, that the what? Topic, I am God. The question we ask here is, who is that is claiming I am God? Who is that I? Because there is a confusion in understanding that word I. So there is a to who is that is claiming I am God. Who is that I? So this is where we need an assistance in explicitly stating what is the meaning of that. So that word I has three different meanings. In three different contexts, we use three different meanings to this word I. In fact, it is two, primary and secondary. And in that secondary, there are two aspects. So I say it is three actually. So primary one is basic one, what all of us use. Anytime you use the word I, what is the meaning you give to that word I? I is referred to I am feeling hot. I am not feeling well. I am in high. I am low. I am intelligent. I am dull. I am tall. I am short. I am fat. At least to my eyes. And some of them say, I am slim, at least to my eyes. Even though the weighing machine doesn't agree with it. It's amazing to, I don't know what they see in front of the mirror. That apart. But what is interesting here is, all of us use this word I. I'll be there. Whenever we use a word, I will be there. What is the meaning you give to that word I? Means this limited personality, correct? That is what is meant. So, one meaning of the word I is this limited being, the little self, the equipments, body, mind, and intellect. The combination of body, mind, intellect. That is what we refer as I. One way. Can this I claim I am God? I am Brahman? Can this body claim I am Brahman? It will be a false claim, isn't it? It can claim, but it can wish. Your mind cannot claim I am Brahman. That is not possible. Your intellect also cannot claim that. So, equipments cannot claim God. Correct, which is very clear. There is no second opinion about it. Then we ask this question, is there any other way this word I being used? Now the problem we have is, any other way means we have to go to some other being. Some other being means you can't ask monkey. You can't call a dog and ask, what do you think of yourself? There's no possibility. Nor we have an access to Indra, Varuna, Yama. Those people also we cannot call them and ask, find out what is your understanding of that word I. So the second option we have is to, within human beings, we have to find a special category of people. Right? That is where we divide humanity into two brackets. One bracket is Agnanis, another brackets Jnanis. The non-enlightened, another one enlightened. Right? This enlightened beings, there are two ways they also use the word I. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say that. It pains me to take this medicine. Now, when he uses the word, it pains me, that me is what? That me of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, are you going to equate it as the same statement as you and me saying taking medicine is painful? Then there is no difference between Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's statement and our statement, which means we and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa are equal. Like a lot of people say, Ramana Maharishi took, the surgery without anesthesia. That's the first surgery. Second surgery, he took anesthesia. So, just because a person is taking anesthesia to go to a surgery or not taking anesthesia to go into surgery has got nothing to do with his state of enlightenment. It's not that initially Ramana Maharishi was enlightened. After he took this, he became unenlightened, non-enlightened being. Now, people claim, all for wrong reasons. We claim someone to be an enlightened being, a realized soul, a master, for all wrong reasons. Same way, we criticize also them for wrong reasons. You praise them for wrong reasons, you criticize them for wrong reasons. That's why all those masters call us Bala, children. Children, kids, they don't know what they're doing. They're so dumb, so stupid. It's like two kids having an argument. Say, asking, the debate between the two kids is, whose mother loves them the most? The first child claims, my mother loves me most. The second child says, no, my mother loves me the most. On what basis? The basis is, for both of them, the basis is, whatever I ask, my mother always says yes. She gives me immediately. As soon as I ask her, she gives me. So therefore, she loves me. Anytime I ask her, she says no, she doesn't love me. So the child's definition of mother's affection, love, is, if you give the toys, when it is having high temperature, it will ask for ice cream. You promised me that you will get me ice cream next Sunday. That Sunday has come. You get me ice cream. The mother says, next Sunday I promised. Correct. But at that time, you were not having temperature. The child is not going to listen to all that. Says, nothing doing. You promised me. You broke the promise. Therefore, you are not trustworthy mother anymore. The child's belief that the mother's affection is so much, and also the mother is not trustworthy, both are founded on wrong reasons. Remember that. That is why he gives this fascinating example: rope, snake. The snake is rope. That beautiful argument. One of the fascinating statement that is. Because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also says, and he is so vocal. Other masters were not so vocal like him. That's why I'm taking example of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Other masters were not like him. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, why don't you cook something which I like to eat? And Ma Sharda had a real problem with this man. Because when he is not supposed to have sweets, this fellow will go on eating sweets. He says, I can't control myself. Now, if you read those things, you will also feel, yeah, I'm also not able to control sweets. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also not able to control sweets. Therefore, say that. The second definition of I is an enlightened master using the word I for others' sake. The enlightened master referring I as to himself. If you take the same thing to apply it to yourself, it will become a little easier. You use the word I, me, for others' sake, right? For social reasons. For social reasons, you use I. The I that you refer to social reasons is the same I is what you believe yourself also to be, isn't it? Is there any difference between how you refer to yourself to others and how you refer to yourself? Is there any difference? You have to think about it. When you think about yourself, when you have to think on your own, what do you have to do? How you think vis-a-vis how you refer yourself to the world. Now in Vedanta, we don't care about how you refer to the world. The discussion here is, I am God, is the proclamation you tell yourself. You don't go out into the market and say, I am God. If you go into the market and say, I am God, they'll say, yeah, we all know that. Yeah, I am also God. You are one God, I am one God. There's no big difference between you and me. We are not referring to that I. Whereas when you go into this Gnani's position, he has two different eyes. The one eye that he uses is for the others. Another one is to himself, which is where the distinction comes into picture. The reflected consciousness is what is referred as I for others by the enlightened, and the pure consciousness is what is referred as I to himself. And what is that realization? The realization is the reflected consciousness is dependent on the pure consciousness. Number one. Number two, the reflected consciousness is none other than the pure consciousness. That's all. That is what I am God is all about. When we use the word I, we don't refer to the reflected consciousness, nor we refer to the pure consciousness. We refer only to the equipments. The body, mind, intellect. We come to the body, mind, intellect. To put it in a very loose language, for us to just to get used to it, I'm saying. We come right up to buddhi, right? Deha, manas, buddhi. We never hit that chit. The chit is the reflected consciousness, and what they call as chidabhasa is the pure consciousness. The chit and the chidabhasa are one and the same thing. When have we referred to the reflected consciousness? The conditioned consciousness. So first step is what? To move away from this and hit that reflected consciousness. From reflected consciousness, you go to pure consciousness, which is what is generally referred to as Deha Bhava to Jiva Bhava, Jiva Bhava to Atma Bhava. This is the progression. So whenever you read this statement, I am God, beware of that. Because people will immediately ask this question, who is that is claiming I am? Who is that I claiming that? The I claiming that has to be the I which says the reflected consciousness is none other than the pure consciousness essentially. That's all. It is pure consciousness only. And between this reflected consciousness and pure consciousness, the pure consciousness is real, reflected consciousness is unreal. Why? Without the pure consciousness, reflected consciousness not possible, whereas pure consciousness can stand independent of the reflected consciousness. So therefore, the one who is dependent can never be real. One of the definitions of reality is one of the factors we can consider to figure out the reality is it dependent or independent? Anything that is dependent cannot be real. That which is independent alone can be real. So now between the reflected consciousness and pure consciousness, which is real? Is a pure consciousness. Why? Because it is independent. So therefore, the sadhana time, at the time of your effort, when you are practicing or when you are putting in your spiritual efforts, one stand. Another one is sadhya time, after realization. So pre-realization, post-realization. At the time of sadhana, one. At the time of sadhya, another one. Pre and post. So who is claiming that? So first he is given as the idea of the enlightened master claiming, I am God, Aham Brahmasmi. That he has claimed. Now what he is doing is, as a sadhak, as a seeker, when you are putting in your efforts, meaning the one who is striving in the path of evolution, in the path of spiritual unfoldment, how he has to go about it is what he is bringing in now. So far what we have seen is the claim, the grand claim by this masters. Get that courage, or those who are having a tremendous courage, like that of Upanishadic students, having that courage and conviction, that boldness to claim that I am God. To them, he spoke. Now, he is speaking to all of us. After this, you will find the text is, it's like the flight, landing time. The moment they announce, suddenly you will feel the drop. Suddenly you will feel like, as though the flight is dropping down. Okay. Suddenly from 30,000 feet to 10,000 feet, they'll come in a matter of 2 minutes. Boom, they'll come. You will find something like that here. Suddenly he is speaking something which is very easy for us to relate to. Right? Sometimes we find even this is difficult. Even 10,000 feet is a 10,000 feet, no, isn't it? For those who are, moving around on the surface, for those people, 10,000 feet is so high actually. But comparing that with 30,000 feet, 10,000 feet looks, real drop actually. So if you are reading continuously, then you can feel it. This 4 aphorisms, and then this, and all that when he is explaining, you feel like, oh my God, it's going on, just, going above your head. And now suddenly you will find there is a shift. A subtle shift is, now he is speaking to people who are not so courageous, not so bold, not so exploratory, committed, but very much interested and genuine inquirers, not curious. Remember this. Now, this is not addressed to people of curiosity. This is addressed to people who are genuine inquirers, but they don't have the courage and boldness to claim, I am God. To those people, he is coming from the other direction. So far, the discussion was moving from the direction of I to God. Now he is coming from God to I. Now, the moment you move from God to I, the focus shifts. When the focus is going to shift, means God becomes a supreme power and we stand as the little self, limited individuals. Now, what is the connection? How God and we are connected, related? What is the link? What is the connection? What is the relationship? What is the nature of relationship between God and us? Not us and God. Remember the difference. You relating to God, God relating to you. It is like you writing to the president versus president writing to you. Is it the same? I'm not talking about even president of a country. Resident Welfare Association president itself feels like what? Huh? It's like a huge, they come president. Now what he is describing is how God is relating to us, not how we wish God to be relating to us. Now I'm moving to two aspects now. Remember that. Follow very carefully now. How we want God to relate to us. How we want President to be speaking to us is different from actually how President will speak to you, isn't it? We all want how God should be relating to us. Now here, that's where you will find it very difficult to digest what he's going to say. What he's going to say, you can appreciate the example, but digesting the point and agreeing to that and saying, yes, that's what it is, and getting convinced about it would be almost impossible. And the first casualty will be this. This is why I'm giving such a big, introduction for this. The first casualty here will be how we should be relating to God is different. That has got nothing to do. So remember, there are three angles here. I just referred three angles here now. First is how God is actually relating to us. Second one, how we generally wish God to be relating to us. Three, how we should be relating to God. How you should be relating to God is dependent on what? That is a big question. Keep in mind. How you are going to be relating to God, how you are going to interact with God is directly connected to the notion of how God is relating to us. Isn't it? If God were to be relating to us the manner in which we wish God to be relating to us, then I am willing to do certain things to you. If I give example, it will become easy. Our notion of God is what? Essentially, our notion of God is He should solve my problems. That's all. Very simple. The problems to which I am not able to find a solution, problems to which I am not able to get an expert solution, right? Like medical one. Party Vaijyam we say, no? At home, I have a headache. What to do? Have one. Rasam you have. It will get over. That's all. Have rasam. Hot rasam you drink. Or soup. And I say rasam, what I meant is the soup. You have hot soup. You'll get over. Like, wow, good. I drink. Still, it's not getting over. Then what do? I go to a doctor. And then doctor gives a solution. If the problem gets resolved, then what do? I don't care. I am not able to find a solution for my headache. I am not able to find a solution from an expert who is a doctor in this case, able to resolve my problem. He is also washing his hands off. He says, I don't know, sir. That is where we look up to some source saying, now we wanted to tap in that source and say, now you are there to solve the problem. Otherwise, we don't go, isn't it? At what point we go to God? Like even those who are non-believers on astrology, marriage, first thing they do is what? Horoscope matching, no? I don't believe in astrology and all that. But then why you check horoscope before marriage? If you are a genuine believer of horoscope, then when you are employing someone at home, when you want a driver, when you are employing a driver, you should ask the driver to bring not his DL. Bring your driving license. No. Along with the driving license, you should be asking him to get his horoscope also. Do we do that? But he says, sir, I believe in, I don't believe in. Now, you believe or you don't believe in all that, all those things comes from the notion of how God is relating to you. Now, here comes two aspects. One, how he actually relating to us versus what we believe, what we wish him to be relating to us. The manner in which we wish he be relating to us. If those two things were to match, perfect relationship. If there is no match between these two, finished. This holds good even in all your worldly relationships also. Remember this. How I wish my wife relates to me versus how she actually relates to me. If those two things were to match, from my side, no problem. I will say, I have a fantastic wife. Same way, the wife also has the same notion, no, isn't it? One, actually, as a husband, how I relate to my wife and how she wishes me to be relating to her. Correct? If it matches, perfect relationship, harmonious relationship. If there is a mismatch, then where we have to work out, that's where knowledge comes into picture. Is where there is a mismatch. If there is a mismatch, which aspects needs to be readjusted, retuned, re-engineered? The fine-tuning or the retuning or the re-engineering education needs to be given only to correct the way in which I wish my wife relates to me that way. Only that can be corrected. But all of us want what? This point, no. That you correct. You would expect wife to readjust herself to your notion. Same way you expect God also to be relating to you according to your notion. That will never happen. That is not going to happen. That is not the case. This is called knowledge. What is the meaning of knowledge and wisdom? So this is the meaning of knowledge. This is called wisdom. This is Gnani. And that's what he's giving now. Okay? I'm repeating. 3 points only here. Remember that. 1, how God is actually relating to you. 2, how we expect God to be relating to us. 3, how we are supposed to be relating to God. how you relate to God. How you relate. How you relate is dependent on these two factors. So therefore, I say, be careful here. If there is a mismatch between these two, this one is fixed. What can be corrected, what has to be realigned to this one. This cannot be changed. Only this can be changed. That is why the education is given. What is it? Your wrong notions can be realigned to the actual. Now comes another question. How does the author know? God came and told him. And how do you know? Who can say, make a statement like this? That's where the previous portion comes into picture. What? The one who had the courage to claim that Aham Brahmasmi has the authority. He has the authority, full stop. Now, if you also have that same courage to claim that Aham Brahmasmi, then this portion is not needed for you. Then it is not needed. Suppose if you say that, no, I am not able to have that notion. I am not able to claim that. Even theoretically, I'm not able to claim that. I'm not able to take a stand like that, sir. That courage is missing in me. Then you cannot. Since man who has gone through the process and claimed, and he has the courage to take a stand such as this, declares this. That is the authority. What is the authority? The courage to claim, and that internal realization becomes the authority. That's it. If you also have that same courage and realization, then you don't have to follow all this. So the assumption here we have is, we are lacking that courage, therefore we are going through this. So this is how we have to read. Now we'll go to the ideas. The page number 363. Of course, it is in my book. I don't know which book you are all following in this edition. So whatever the edition that you have, read.
You gain some idea of what you really are, how God operates, by studying an amazing similarity between God and Petrol. God, the Supreme Self, functions in beings in the same way as petrol in motor vehicles. Here are 3 points of comparison which bring them remarkably close. 1. Petrol is the prime mover in all cars, but petrol does not move. It does not have a desire to go anywhere. Yet no car moves without petrol. Similarly, the self, Atman, is the activating principle in all beings, but the self does not act. It has no desire to act, nor a desire to avoid action. Yet no action is possible without the self. 2. The performance level of a small car is poor. In a medium car, it is mediocre. In a big car, powerful. The performances of the 3 types are distinct, wide apart, yet the petrol used in them is the same. So it is with the different personalities. The self, Atman, in an illiterate, uncivilized person is the same that is in an intelligent, civilized person, and that in an exceptional, enlightened sage. Their caliber and conduct are distinctly different. yet the one Atman functions through them all. 3. A car goes off an embankment and crashes. The inmates of the car are hospitalized, while another car takes its passengers home safely. But the petrol in both the cars is the same. Petrol cannot be labeled as safe or unsafe. Yet, if the first car had run out of petrol a few meters away, it would not have met with the accident. Nevertheless, petrol cannot be held responsible for the accident, nor take credit for the safe arrival of the other car. So is it with the Atman. In a terrorist, it manifests as atrocious acts of destruction, while in a sage, it manifests as divine deeds of benevolence. The Atman remains neutral, responsible neither for vice nor virtue that emanates from it. Not realizing these truths of life, diverse activities are attributed to the self, to Atman, to God. You hold God responsible for everything that happens in the world. You blame God when something goes wrong and praise God when all goes well. You must reflect carefully over this equation between God and petrol. Get out of this colossal misconception. Understand God as merely the substratum of all activities and not hold God responsible for the variety of activities in the world.
This is the base. The 3 points he gives. The first point of comparison is this. No car can move without petrol. So petrol is the prime mover of the car. If there is no petrol, no movement. But then petrol doesn't have a desire for movement, propulsion. Neither the petrol wants the car to move forward or backward. No. Then who decides that is a different equation. But the first point we need to remember here is this. Assuming here the human to be a car. Imagine a human to be a car, a life to be the car and all that, whatever way you want, but you can take it as human to be the car. In that, we are all acting, all these movements are all happening. I remember the first lecture I attended, he gave this example. I was really stunned by that. I said, correct, no? Then what is it? Took his finger out and said, do you all see this finger moving up and down? It's moving. If I were to cut the finger and throw it on the floor, it will just lie there as a piece of wood. Same finger here moves. There, it's not moving. I said, correct. That means what? Finger by itself, it can move, means it should move either here or there. Which means there is something in that finger which is making the finger to move. There is an element. There is some factor. We don't know what it is. I'm not going to be saying, what it is and all that. But first step we need to remember is this. There is something other than this finger. Then what you need to add? Finger means what? Body, mind, intellect. All that we need to add here. All these equipments are all functioning. The functioning of these equipments were happening on what basis? What is making that to move? There is a mover. Now, since there is a prime mover, there is an element, that X factor. Can we say that is actually propelling it? No, 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 no. That is not propelling it. What is propelling is different. What is making the car move is different. Not petrol. But without petrol, no car can move. The direction of the movement, the starting and stopping of the movement, the speed of that movement are not determined by the petrol. Then what is determined by the petrol? Petrol just enables the car to move. Then petrol has no desire. That's the first point here. Similarly, the God principle, the Atman, is just an activating principle in all beings. It just gives you that power to move. That's it. The quality of the movement, the direction of the movement, whether moving or being stationary, from stationary to moving and moving to stationary, all this is determined by something else. The petrol has no, same way, the Atman, the self in you, has no desire. What is driving there? All that is determined by some other factor. What is the factor in this example? That example factor is the desires. It is the desires that is driving your action. Right? But desire by itself cannot drive unless there is a power. So desire can do only what? It can be determining the quality of your actions, the direction of your actions, etc. But without the support of the self, the vasanas or the desires or the likes and dislikes, your aims and ambitions and goals, whatever you call now, none of those things can be driving the body to act. First point. The second point he gives is, now from individual he is going to the total. Right. Now these are all very, when you go to the deeper ones, there are many philosophical implications here. Now the first point is to a car. Any one individual car if you take. The second one he is moving to the total vehicles, all cars. If you take all cars, Samashti, if you go, there we find there is a small car, there is a medium car, and there is a big car. Right. All the three cars are standing one behind the other in the petrol bunk. All three are filling same petrol. Don't say, sir, there is unleaded petrol, there is premium petrol and all that. Okay. There are diesel cars. What about diesel car? What is electric car then? We are not discussing about all that here. So remember the examples carefully. All three cars fill in from the same petrol bunk, same petrol, but the manifestation of that power, the expression of that power differs. So here we find there are, in all individuals, it is the same self that is propelling them. But then why one person is like that? Why one person is like this? You say it is not because of the self, it is because of something other than the self. Like the performance in the vehicles is not dependent on the petrol, it is dependent on the engine. Is it only engine? No, it depends on the driver who is driving the car also, isn't it? Depends on the skill of the driver. If you are having a skillful driver with a medium car, he can outrun. That's where all they have to get, Formula One cars, drivers. They pay them so heavily to those people. Why? If it is all going to be decided only by the engine, whichever engine is so powerful will come first. Then why do you need a skilled drivers? You don't require Hamilton, no, after that. Eastern also will do. Anyone can go and sit inside the car. No. Anyone can't get into the car. Remember, what is the equipments here? It depends upon the quality of the equipments. What is the equipments? Body, mind, intellect. Depends upon those things. Why there is a difference in all of us is because of the quality of the equipments that is fitted. So which means he takes three cases here. One, he takes the case of, don't take it, literally. Just to give an example, he is giving. Right? There are three cases. One is an illiterate, another one is literate, intelligent. Third one is exceptionally intelligent. Right? Uneducated person, educated people like you and me. Another one he is taking is people like Ram Tirtha, Kalidasa, Shakespeare, Einstein. Now we can't be equating to them. See, there's no connection. There's a huge gap between what they are and where we are. And similarly, there is a big gap between where we are and where these people are. There is a gap. The gap is not because of the self, because of God. The gap is because of what? Because of the equipment that is fitted in. What is the equipment? The quality of your body, the quality of your mind, the quality of your intellect. Can you improvise it? Yes or no? That's why we are getting no. iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, iPhone 10, 13 and 14 is coming now. Because 14 is coming, 13 is given and very cheap now. I am also waiting. When iPhone 10 came, I said, when 11 comes, I'll buy. And then when 12 came, I said, that time I'll buy. When 13 comes, somebody. Now 14 is coming. I said, okay, we'll wait for 14 and then buy. Because by the time you buy 13, and he says, this is useless. That's far, far better. Sir. Because after 13 came, 12 became like what? All useless people use 12. After 13. Now 14 comes, 13 will become what? You can improvise, no? Which means this can be bettered and bettered and bettered. There's no doubt about it. But then bettering this is no way connected to petrol. So we see the variety of people in the world. Even though all cars are moving because of that same petrol, but the performance varies. How do you account for the variance in the performance? Difference in the performance. He says it's because of the skill of the driver and the engine that is fitted in. There should be a perfect sync between the engine and the skill. If that skill and the engine is not matching, then there will be a problem. You should know how to drive those cars, isn't it? If you don't know how to drive those cars, it's better don't buy. Just because you have money, don't buy. You should know how to drive those vehicles. Same way, all of us want to have a better life, better things, but you should know how to steer that. That's where intellect comes into picture. Your desires and your buddhi. What is that is defining factor here? The defining factor for the variance of performance is the quality of the mind and the quality of your intellect. The quality of your mind is the engine. The intellect is the driving skill, the driver. This is what Kathopanishad gives a beautiful example. It says, the charioteer is the intellect, it says. The chariot is the body, the horses were the senses, and the reins is the mind, held by the charioteer, who is the intellect. If the charioteer were to be smart, and if the reins were to be proper, imagine if the reins were to be broken, it will not hold it, you pull it, it will give away. So that needs to be of that quality. What drives? And the person who is traveler, the owner is the jiva sitting behind. So if the charioteer, if the driver were to be smart, he will take the chariot to its proper desired destination. If not, meet with accident. That's where the next point comes. The performances are all different because of the equipments. What is the equipment? Mind and intellect. In the car, what is it, sir? Engine and the driver. That determines the performance. Now, the third point he comes to is the consequence of the propulsion given by the desire and the proper direction and the usage of all this should be resulting in something, no? The consequence of that is going to be what? He says, petrol has no role to play in the consequence also. But no consequence is possible reaching the desired destination, nor meeting with accident, has got nothing to do with the petrol. But without petrol, this is where the problem of this chariot example comes up. And he says, why in the Upanishads, petrol example was not given is only because petrol was not available during their time. If petrol were to be available, he says, one Upanishad would have been written on this. There will be a separate Upanishad. And then Krishna would have said, all that you require is study that one Upanishad for you to understand God. That's it. Nothing else is needed. Like for mumukshus, they say, traditionally they say, Mandukya Upanishad, one Upanishad you study. Tiny one. 12 mantras, over. Study that, you are done. He would have changed his opinion. Say, this is even better. All that you need to know about God is completed here. So God has got nothing to do with, he has no desires. He is the same to everyone. And also he has no role in anything that you meet in life. Whatever you encounter in life, you reach the destination properly, you meet success, you meet failure. The success or failure is not decided by God. Then who's deciding it, sir? Almost we come to conclusion. If you read these 3 points, almost we come to a conclusion. Try to read that same thing in the reverse order. This is what I did. He gives 3 orders, no? 1, 2, 3. Imagine if he would have presented it 3, 2, 1 or 2, 3, 1. 2, 1, 3. Permutation combination. This is what reflection is. You reflect what you have to do. I'm just giving a tip, because it is one of the fascinating points. You will get tremendous notions in this. I'll just give a hint here. Imagine he has given this point as the first point. What all of us would have decided? Anyway, Petrol has got nothing to do with me meeting with success or failure. Therefore, delete God out of equation. Is it not? Isn't it? Imagine if he would have said. That is why he puts the first point first. Why? You cannot delete out of equation. You cannot take God out of equation and think. If you take petrol out of car, what is it then? Exhibition. Isn't it? The museums, they have the cars. Will it have petrol inside? I don't think so. In the showroom, maybe they will have. In the museum, showrooms, they may keep little petrol because they have to bring it and keep inside. No, drive the car and keep it inside, right? So they need petrol for that. In the museum, are they going to have petrol there? Museum, that is. You can just keep looking at it and go away. That's about it. Life cannot move. So first thing he established is you cannot take God out of equation and think. It's a compulsory element. Then he finally concludes saying he has got nothing to do with it. Whatever consequences, whatever, you meet success or you meet failure. Car goes home safe or the car meets with accident. You cannot make petrol responsible for that. Say, my God, correct. Therefore, what is the role of God? Now you go to the basic point. How we relate, how we wish God to be relating to us. I may make mistakes also. He should. Excuse, okay, go. I may forget to fill in petrol, but still he should say, doesn't matter. I will make your car run little more. Suddenly I will give extra mileage. This is what all of us believe, isn't it? It comes, to the empty when it comes closer. That's the time we'll say, my God, let my car give another few more kilometers. No. We want that God. He says, nothing doing. I have got nothing to do with it. Then what is God in your life? He is the substratum on which your life moves. If the substratum is taken out, you are finished. You can't do anything. There lies the grace of God. The grace of petrol. Petrol graces all vehicles equally. There is no extra grace given to somebody and limited grace given to this person. After you acknowledge me only, I will give grace to you. Otherwise, I will do this, I will do that. Nothing. Then what is God? He enables everything and just a witness. It's almost an impossible combination. The one who supports everything also a perfect witness for everything. That is why the first mantra taught to a child is Gayatri mantra, addressing the sun god. What is the reason? Without sun, no energy possible, but perfect witness. It's a perfect symbolic representation of God. See, so therefore we say we worship sun. First thing taught to a child, first mantra taught to the child is that official teaching starts from this mantropadesha. That's what is referred to as Brahmopadesha itself. You know, the entire Veda. It is the essence of the entire Vedas. What is the essence of entire Vedas? Gayatri mantra. To whom you are addressing? Savitri means the sun god. Addressing the sun god. Why we are addressing sun god? Don't say in Himalayas these people are feeling so cold. When sun comes up, they feel very warm. Therefore, they are worship. Then why they have to do the same Gayatri mantra chanting in Chennai? Huh? Himalaya, okay, I agree. In Chennai also they are doing the same thing, no? Rajasthan you go, there also they are teaching the same Gayatri mantra. So don't get into all sorts of beliefs. Remember, there is a logic, there is a philosophic reason, not your biological reasons, not your physical reasons. Today we cannot think anything more than body in the name of philosophy. We're discussing something far, far noble here, far, far subtler idea. A perfect example. Every day you see that. Sun comes, all energy. 2 days the sun is not here. How gloomy we feel. In Bangalore at least. 2 days you're not seeing sun, we feel. And suddenly tomorrow, if the sun comes up, you feel bristling. He energizes the whole thing. But at the same time, no involvement at all. Keeps moving, keeps moving, keeps moving. He doesn't get stuck. What is happening here? Oh, there is a special parade. Wow, fantastic, man. Let's watch a little more. 2 more seconds, let me stand and watch the sea. Just moves. Is he moving faster or slower? Does the sun move fast or it's slow? It's neither slow nor fast. Just moves. No change at all. That's called a witness. Don't get involved in anything. Just keeps moving, 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 moving. But if we were to be moving, we are not like this. If you do this, that is not possible. You do everything at the same time. You stand as a perfect witness. That is God. I am God. So when you say, I am God, what are you saying? I am God doesn't mean I can carry Govardhanagiri in my left thumb finger, little finger. Krishna could lift and hold it for 7 days. Little finger. That too not the right hand, left hand. They were doing some research on that. Right. And Narayana Bhattatri found out. He says, I did my research and I found out that's not a right thumb, left thumb. Left thumb, he was lifting that Govardhanagiri and standing for 7 days. That is God, sir. Therefore, what are you going to do? I am God. One coconut you cannot lift and hold. You are saying, I'm going to lift Govardhanagiri. I am God means what? I am the one who is the substratum, the supporter, at the same time, a perfect witness. You are the supporter of your family and be a witness to your family. You are the supporter of your business and just a witness to your business. Can you start there first? And then you can do the whole thing. That's the meaning when he says, I am God. What you should understand, I am God, as this is the conclusion. This is the agenda of explaining all this. Now, why suddenly is bringing in Petrol here is to arrive at this conclusion. So, what is God? God is just a supporter and a witness. Therefore, when you claim I am God, what are you actually claiming? I am the supporter of all actions. I am the one who propels the whole thing, but I am a perfect witness to the whole. Right. See you in the next class.